Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of HealthNutz. We made it to 10. It, I think it might have taken us a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a
uh,
crazy couple of weeks though, so I'll tell you,
hey, yeah, neither of us have been around. So, I am Chad Wallenberg, one of your hosts, and with me, as always, is.
Hey, I'm Dan Fry.
And yeah, so we're back. I really don't remember. It's been about a month, maybe a month and a half, something like
I
that.
think it was the beginning of September, September 5th or
Oh, that's
something
not
like that.
too bad.
No, it's
That's
yeah,
not too bad.
about a
You
month
did all
off.
right. um,
I don't know
yeah.
how I even swung that one, man. We had a massive upgrade that took place on the 2nd of September, and then the fallout from all of that stuff. So I mean, it
Yeah,
was
that's
it
right.
was a busy time. It was a real busy time there then, and then went away on vacation after a few weeks after that. So yeah, it was a busy time there, and still kind of reeling in the aftermath of the upgrade. So
Yeah, I remember it being crazy for you. I, I was in Virginia Beach for meetings the week before last, and then Florida last week, and I just got back this weekend, and I'm way behind at work and trying to catch up, but getting there.
I think I'd still rather be at a meeting in Virginia Beach or Florida than dealing with a lot of this crap.
True, true. It just depends on the meeting, I guess.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. But at least you can look out and see the ocean or whatever, right? So.
Yeah, it was interesting having that meeting at Epcot because
Hmm.
as tired as I was and as boring as certain parts got, you look out and you see just everyone having a crazy time at Epcot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was pretty wacky. Uh, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
No.
Here to talk about health or
Although
something
although
like
Epcot
that.
does kind of have a segue into this first thing we're going to talk about here. In that's where I was. I was on vacation with my family in Disney during the week of the 22nd in September, and just that night, my neighbor calls me and lets me know that all of my smoke detectors are going off in my house. So of course I'm 1,400 miles away, thinking what the hell's going on? My house is burning down or something's going on or whatever, right? No, they just were old and decided it was time for them to die. So some of them died. I don't know, but they were all ripped off the ceiling, and I am in the process of replacing them all. But what I decided was I want to have better control over this. So I started replacing them with the Nest Protect smoke and carbon monoxide detector. Uh, Not so much a health topic here, but at least
But it
when you
is.
talk about the well-being of your family and whatnot, I mean, it's pretty important.
Yeah.
The nice thing about these, and now these are a bit expensive. They run $99 a piece, and I need six of them in my house
But
because
you
I
made a
have.
good point. If you're going to buy them for $60 anyway, you might as
Yeah,
well go digital.
right. And so now these things, they don't actually, when you hook them up, they don't connect to there's a communications wire that runs on that line that connects all the smoke detectors so that they could all fire off if one of them goes off, if they're the wired type, right? But this case, you don't actually hook them up. These things connect with a mesh network of their own, as well as to your Wi-Fi network, so that they are continually updating the cloud service that comes with it, which lets me monitor them right from my phone or my tablet or any computer. Setting them up is actually really easy.
Hang on,
You
before you get
Yeah.
into setting them up, how easy was it to install?
I installed the three of them in about 10 minutes.
All right, so it's real easy.
Yeah, and that even included rewiring, pulling off the old one and rewiring there's a adapter in there that because I have a wired connection for all. I don't need just a battery one. They make both a battery and a wired one. Um, I just plug in. I had to rewire the two lines, as I pulled each one down and rewire it with an adapter that they provide for you, and that just plugs into the back of the unit then. So all in all, it was 10, maybe 15 minutes after I read the directions and stuff like that. But you don't actually install them on the ceiling first. You have to install them into the app first. And what it basically does is when you fire up the app, there's a button in there that you press that says add either their thermostat or a one of these smoke detectors. Um, you flip over the smoke detector then and scan a QR code. Then you pull out the battery tab on it because they do have these like extra long life batteries in them. Like when I look at the app, it says that it needs to be replaced by 2021. So that's a heck of a long battery that they have
Yeah,
inside
it's
of that
pretty
thing.
good.
So you add when you start going through, it just walks you through like a little wizard to get this going. Because what it'll do is it shuts down or disconnects your phone from your own Wi-Fi, and it sets up its own ad hoc Wi-Fi network. It then is able to scan for existing Wi-Fi networks. So you select your Wi-Fi network, and then you enter in your password. Then it walks you through like where do you want to place this. So the first one I set up was for in the living room, and it lets me select living room from a list, or I believe you can even enter in your own room. But there's a long list of rooms there that you can select for it. Um, the dial on the outside of it, which is there's like an LED that kind of circles around the main button. There's only one button on there, so that'll circle blue as it's setting up, and if it so long as that's lit, it will just walk you through the rest of it. The nice thing about this is when you go to set up multiples of the one time, all you have to do is press that button one time. It will go out and capture all of the information stored in that one unit and set it into every other unit. So setting all of them up at one time is the easy way to go because you just tell it to look at this one that you've already set up. It's going to get the Wi-Fi settings.
Just change its location and everything else
Yeah,
gets replicated.
yeah. You change the location, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty cool.
There's an adapter that you screw on top of the outlet that where the existing one is. So that's just two little screws. Pop that out. Pop the old one off. Put this one in place. Screw that up into place, and that's pretty much all you have to do. Nice thing about this is they all communicate with one another, and then likewise with the app on the phone. And I know every time you do a manual test on it, you get a heads-up warning. A heads-up warning is slightly different than it just going off because maybe you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, and it's kind of detecting that the heat level has risen, because the oven is going or something like that, right? And it's saying, hey, it'll pop up and with a voice, not like an alarm. It'll tell you specifically what it's detected is going on.
All right, question about that.
Mhm.
The voice comes out of the actual nest on the ceiling?
Yep, it comes out, and it
And,
comes
and
out
will
of
it
all
also
of them. It
and does
comes
it
out of
also
all of them.
notify your phone? Like, will you get a
Yes, you'll get a notification on the phone.
Can you pop onto the phone and then be like, yo, I'm cooking, back off?
No, that was one thing that people have been asking for
Yeah, that'd be
because,
good.
like, my wife is short. She's 5'3", right? So she'd have to, get like a chair out and be able to stand up and hit the button. They used to have it where you could kind of wave your hand underneath it,
Yeah.
but they had some type of malfunction with that, I guess, and they had to recall a lot of units, and so they have that. It's still the functionality is still in there, but it's disabled. So I'm assuming a firmware update is going to fix that at some point. But the where was it with the button? When you press the button, it'll auto it'll through auto prompts, it'll prompt you, say, hey, do you want to do a self test now? And when you do, it'll count down from 10 to 0. You have any option to cancel it there, and when you hit it on one, it's going to initiate a self test on all of them at the same exact time. So you'll hear throughout the house, living room test complete for smoke detector, for carbon monoxide.
That's
Then
cool.
off in the distance, you'll hear hallway or basement, all kind of firing at the same time.
Hal, check smoke detectors.
Yeah, right. The indicators on there it's like a orangish yellowish color. That's the one that's going to be the audible cue or the what I call it, the hot word cue type of a thing. And then there's red, and that just means something is going off, either carbon monoxide or whatever. And when it does fire off, it'll tell you which room has the alarm going off in it. I'm going to say yes, that the app is going to also tell you that as well, since it maintains a history of everything that occurred. I think I can go back, is it 30 or 60 days, and know every time that, like, the self-test went off, or or anything like that, or the fire alarm went off, or even just a heads up kind of
How
alarm went
cool would
off.
it be? I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, but how
Mhm.
cool would it be if you, since these things are all sunk up and have
Mhm.
vocal abilities, how
Yeah,
cool would it be if you could actually say a message and it would shoot through the house on these things?
like an intercom system
Like,
almost.
yeah, I mean, how,
Hmm.
like, Elvis has left the building and just had to
Yeah,
go all
right.
the way through the house. That
Well,
would
you
be,
know what? There is an API, and it does hook up to things like if this then that, and other online tools that are like that out there. It
hmm,
hooks up to you could actually hook it up to or integrate them some way, and you might have to have like the thermostat in place to do some of this stuff, but like
right.
it will do like the like Whirlpool washer and dryers, right? It will kick them on when say certain conditions are met so that you're maybe it's like pushing it to like later at night to do it or something like that, or garage doors, right? And you can even trigger something so that if you're within say 20 miles of your house, it'll start to bring the temperature up or down to what you want it to be, right?
Oh, I
you
love
know you know
GPS based stuff like that. That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that. The one other really neat feature, and I had read about it, but I just didn't pick up on it. But it has this notion of a path light. As you walk underneath it in the middle of the night,
Oh,
it
that's a great idea.
it just lights up a little hue, like a little white hue, and it kind of lights up the area. So if you get out of bed to go to the bathroom or go check on a kid or something like that,
Except that
it,
would really tick off my wife.
oh, would
But
it?
yeah, I could see
You
that.
know what though? I've
You could
already
probably
noticed that
turn it
my,
on in
my
certain
dog.
areas, though.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can in the app it lets you disable them, completely or dim it or have it like full bright or
Dude,
whatever.
that's genius.
But my dog has triggered it off, if the
Uh,
lights have gone out or whatever, and she walks underneath it, so it does get down pretty low. Like my kids can trigger it, no problem. I'm interested to see if the cat can trigger it because she's way down low to the floor. Um, but I was pretty impressed with the ease of setup of these things and the fact that I can bring all of this stuff up right on my phone. And the phone and the web interface are pretty much identical. I mean, they have this menus, everything in the same place. I mean, you have the exact same experience going from one to the other one, which I thought is pretty cool.
Next generation smoke and carbon monoxide detectors owned by Google, which they're definitely scanning your brain while you're sleeping. No
Oh,
question
sure,
about it. Yeah.
sure. Hmm.
But that's Nest. We're gonna link to it in the first thing in the show notes. Yeah, it's really cool. I've wanted one of the thermostats for a long time, but they're just a little because you can still get
They're
cheap
expensive. Yeah,
thermostats.
yeah.
I mean, we even have a fancy thermostat, and it was only like $110. I think the Nests are like 250, something like that.
Yeah, they're around 250. Although if you have direct energy somewhere in your area, they have a deal with them that you could get it for free.
What?
Yeah. If direct
I don't
energy
even
is
know what direct energy is, but that's cool.
it's like your energy. Mine's PPL, PP&L. Whoever your energy supplier is. If direct energy is in your area and they can give you a cheaper rate and they can get this, hey, go for it.
That's interesting.
The nice thing about integrating the smoke detectors with the thermostat is that if it is a carbon monoxide alarm that's going off and you have a gas furnace, it will kill your gas furnace for you so that if that's the cause of the smoke or the carbon monoxide leak, it's better to let the smoke detectors detect it and tell the thermostat to shut the thing off, so that you don't have to worry about, or you can at least get it so that it can vent out the carbon monoxide and whatnot, and then get it repaired, you know.
That's cool. And the other thing I want to ask you, you mentioned like you can monitor these outside of your network, and that has to do with the subscription, or excuse me, the
Yeah,
service that comes with it, but it's
Yeah,
not
there's no
subscription,
subscription.
correct?
No subscription. You just create an account and then you sign into that account on your phone or your tablet or even just any computer anywhere. I could come to your house and log onto your computer
And
and
that's
check it
that's
out.
doing a dynamic DNS thing. So if your external IP changes, it just reports it to the service, and you can always connect to
I
it,
I
right?
don't even think it needs to do that.
No,
It's probably just pushing the notifications outbound. So it's probably just doing
so
whatever it
you
needs.
you can't control them then for remotely.
No, you can't control
You
them
can
from the
only view you can
although
only view the
although I for these things I don't for the Protects I don't think so, but the thermostat integrates with Google Now
right.
on your phone, so you could say, okay, Google. set the temperature to I triggered it off. Set temperature 74 degrees, and it'll work. So maybe at some point there will be a Google Now hot word that says false alarm, right? Or call 911, have it call 911
Right.
or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that type of a thing. So who knows? Maybe
Interesting.
they're working on something like that, but I kind of want to reach out to them and say, hey, now that you have the thermostat to kill the furnace, can you also do something I can just attach to my hot water heater? Because that's more likely the cause.
Oh, it's on the way, dude. It's
You
on
know
the
what I
way.
mean? So I
Now
mean,
that Google owns Nest, they're gonna come out with a whole home suite. It's in the works for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
I think I thought I also read somewhere too that if you have, because they own Dropcam as well now, that if you have a Dropcam in the room where the alarm is going off, I could be totally off the wall with this here, but I thought I read somewhere that either they're working on something or that it's going to automatically bring up video of that room if the Nest and the Dropcam, if the Protect and the Dropcam are in the same room with one
Oh,
another,
that makes sense.
so
That
you can
totally makes
see
sense.
what's going on just to make sure. I mean,
There's already similar technologies out there for home automation with cameras in the room.
yeah,
If
yeah.
something triggers something, the camera comes on. Yeah, so that makes sense. Cool.
But
Well,
I'm digging this now. I'm kind of digging a bit of the peace of mind with it. I know some people have had some issues with
dude, I'll be
some
honest.
false alarms and whatnot, but it was mostly related to like Steam type of things, and they've redid the algorithms to determine if it's steam or if it's heat, because I guess there's not a whole lot of difference between steam and smoke.
Right, right.
So yeah, that's a I never really kind of realized that, but that's I guess a consideration you have to take into account. How close you put this to say a bathroom, and you're going to take a
Sure.
hot shower. So you don't want to have it kicking off every time you go to take a shower. So
Well, honestly, this is like the first product where I've seen a value not, it's not that much more expensive than the regular product, and
right, yeah.
adds so much more value. So very cool,
Mhm.
very cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm digging it so far. I'm going to replace the other three, here in the next month or so, I would say. But I wanted to try it out where I can put one of these on each floor just to see how it goes. So.
Right on. Well, you'll have to report back and let us know if anything goes wonky.
Oh, I will, because I actually thought I did because I had one still up that was an old one and it was going off the other night, and I thought it was one of these new ones because it sounded like it was downstairs, and I had just started the dishwasher, and I thought maybe the steam thing
All
with the
right.
dishwasher was causing it to go off, and I actually called them at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they were there. They picked up. I talked to somebody out in Palo Alto or San Francisco or wherever they're at.
Nice.
And here it ended up being the old one, so it ended up working out. Even better, I thought. So.
Yeah. Cool. Right on. Right on. Well, the rest of the show is dedicated to Ebola.
Yeah.
Nothing but Ebola. No, and this is crazy, but when four of us went down to Florida for a conference this last week, and on the flight back, one of my colleagues,
Air Libya.
there were four of us, and we were all in the same row on the plane, two, and then the aisle, and then two,
Yeah. Hmm.
and someone behind the person on the other side of the aisle that works with me, the person behind them projectile vomited
Oh no.
all over the place, including hitting her.
Oh no. Oh my goodness.
And all I could think of is, oh my God, we're all gonna die.
You are gonna die, dude. That's
And
it.
and the crazy thing is like, I mean, basically they threw a couple alcohol wipes at her and we're like, yeah, get over it.
Yeah.
And on we went, and we literally landed, and I got back home, and I was exhausted. I'm like trying to recover from this trip, and laying on the couch, and I turn on the news, and it's like flight diverted from LaGuardia because passenger threw up, and I'm like, what? All they did was throw alcohol wipes at us. Like,
Yeah. Right.
why
Right.
are we? I mean, I want to be diverted. No, I don't want to be diverted. But I'm like,
No,
what
you
is that
don't.
all about?
Well, it's the same thing with these people getting diverted for, the dog taking a crap somewhere, and the dog doesn't have
Oh,
any
it's
business
terrible.
being on the plane. I don't care
Yeah.
how bad you think you need your dog sitting next to you on the plane.
All
You
hate mail
don't.
can be
Yeah,
sent to.
send it to me. I will fight it. I will fight it to no end. Even diverting it for these clips or whatever that people are putting in place, right? What purpose does it serve to divert it? I don't see it. It's not like you could get through the cockpit door. That thing is barred shut from the other side. So it's not like they could get up there
It's
and,
it's a little crazy, man.
yeah, it's nuts.
So an update from the last time that we talked. I think I said I lost, like 5 or 6 pounds. I've been trying that high fat, low carb diet
Yeah.
and trying to keep myself in ketosis. Um, so even with traveling for 2 weeks, I've lost about 15 pounds now. So
That's
that's good.
awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm happy with 15 pounds. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
it's been a long
Oh
time since I
yeah.
lost 15 pounds,
Right.
and and actually like starting to see and feel the changes and the stuff. So yeah, just gonna keep at it. I didn't follow the diet to the T at all when I was traveling, but I
Hmm.
did eat like a ton less than I normally would.
Right.
So I think that kind of, leveled me out. I didn't gain any weight while I was traveling. So
Yeah.
really that weight loss really was like a lot of it, like maybe 10 pounds of it was over a 3.5 week period. So that's
Wow.
that's not bad at all.
That's
So I'm
yeah,
just
that's a good rate at which
yeah,
to lose at.
yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna keep at it. We'll see what happens. I'm back in the swing of things just now. Like literally, like yesterday, I started feeling normal again from all the travel and flying, and
Right. Right.
but yeah, definitely hardcore dining again. And along with that, the last time we talked was I had mentioned that I had ordered the Ketonics, which is that ketone breath analyzer. And for those who didn't listen to the last episode or whatever, so I'm doing a ketogenic diet, and which means I eat a lot of fat, moderate protein, very low carbohydrate, and all my carbohydrates are just avocados, broccoli. It's usually like green
Yeah.
vegetables or leaves,
Right.
basically.
Right. Yeah.
And my protein sources I try to keep to maybe 8 to 10 ounces max,
Hmm.
and then lots of fat, lots of butter, coconut oil, stuff like that.
Right.
And that really is supposed to kick up your ketones hardcore. Of course, because I'm a diabetic, my sugars have to be under control too, which is a whole nother crazy thing. Because you can be doing everything right, and if your sugars aren't just
Hmm.
about perfect, you won't get into the as much ketosis as you'd like to.
Right.
So the ketonics is this. So we talked about this last time, but there's 3 ways of testing for the ketosis. The most common is the urine analysis, and then you've got the blood analysis, which is wildly expensive, and then you've got this thing called ketonics, and we link to it, and you can buy it through Amazon. It actually gets shipped out of Europe, and it's the only thing like it on the market right now. It's the only place you can get it. It's first to market. So here you go. Here's your breaking news on this thing. But next year you're going to see tons of these. I mean, you're going to see these in Walmart because everybody's jumping on board with this because of how popular the ketone diet is, uh, ketonic diet. So how this thing works is it's a tube that you blow into like a breathalyzer, like you're drunk,
Hmm.
and you have to plug it in. It's a powered USB, so you plug it in somewhere to USB, and you wait, and in about 2 or 3 minutes it'll glow blue, and then you take a breath and you blow into the end of it, just a full natural breath, and then blow into it, and for as long as you can basically, which is usually 20 seconds or so, 15 20 seconds, something like that. I mean, you don't want to kill yourself blowing in this thing. And as soon as you stop blowing, it'll start giving you a color analysis of how many ketones you have in your breath. And it gives you different levels. Blue is very low. Uh, Green, I might be getting green and yellow mixed up here, but green is low to moderate. Yellow is moderate, and then red is high. But on top of that, it blinks the color, and the blinks are from 1 to 9. So if I get 1 yellow, I know I'm just into the moderate. But if I get 9 yellows, I'm almost at red. So I know I'm actually really at almost at the very high point of ketosis. And these colors and blinks actually coincide with actual numbers of the ketones in the blood. And I have a little chart, and I'll try to include that in the show notes. I just have to find it. But so you can get a relatively accurate count. And from what I found, it's pretty accurate. Uh, you don't so it's really interesting because I'll use the urine analysis. It'll say I'm in really high ketosis, then I'll use this and it'll say I'm more moderate to low moderate at times, and I'm almost positive that the breath is more accurate because of the amount of weight that I'm losing. It's a very slow weight loss. It's not fast at all. Even though
Right.
it sounded like it was fast, I worked really hard to get to that point of, I mean, for weeks and weeks I didn't lose anything. So, um, yeah, it's pretty neat and very portable. Again, USB, chargeable. I've been reading a lot of other people's reviews. They've pretty much had the same experience with me. You have to be consistent with the breath. With the breath, you want to blow at basically the same capacity and the same amount of time each time, so you get accurate readings over time. And you want to basically do this in the morning or at your most fasting points of the day. If you eat a bunch of food and then take this, it's going to be inaccurate.
Right.
It throws it off. That's just the way it is. And you also don't want to guzzle down something to drink and then take it. You basically want to do it, So I just do mine in the morning,
Mhm.
unless I've been fasting all day, which sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't eat until dinner time, so I'll do it just before dinner, before I eat, and get another reading and see if it's actually higher. And a lot of times, particularly because I'm moving and shaking at work, so not only have I not eaten, but I've been moving around a lot. That'll even kick the ketones higher, which is interesting.
So do you want to be in that?
The
You want to
higher, the
be in?
better, as far as I'm
Okay, I was
concerned,
gonna say
man.
because like that red. I mean, red is always. I wonder if their coloring's a
Yeah,
little
red's not
off
bad. Well,
because.
you know what's crazy for me is that nothing is built for colorblind people.
Oh
And
yeah.
the yellow and the green are so close
Yeah.
that I have a really hard time telling. A lot of times I have to ask my wife, is this blinking yellow or is this blinking green? Because that's a big
Right.
difference between there's a threshold, and you usually want to be above 2. I don't want to
Hmm.
get too technical here. You have to research this stuff if you really want to do this, but and that threshold is literally between the green and the yellow, so it makes a big difference. But that's the life of a colorblind man. Uh,
Maybe that's some feedback you need to pass back to the company, though. You know what I mean? To
Man,
say,
you don't even know
hey,
how many people I've told about it. Like you try to
yeah.
be a gamer when you're colorblind.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's,
right.
it's like, do I shoot the yellow guy or the green guy? I don't know. They're both the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. Uh, it's really fun playing
Oh, I
pool
bet.
too,
Yeah.
especially with someone who can't see. Go for the green ball. Yeah. Um,
You see
so
like a what you would see like a green screen, right? Just a white little area just floating above the table.
yeah, it's not that bad. It's really weird. Like I'm very uh, standard colorblind, but not to get off on a tangent, but let's get off on a tangent.
Hmm.
The it's the electric LED lights that I have a really hard time with. It's just the shading on them. I cannot tell the difference between an amber and a green light, which is real great in my field, and
Yeah.
it's just these weird little LED shades. And most of the time, I've trained myself that I can usually decipher, but it just happens to be those lights. But anyway, I'm very pleased with the product, and I'm using the heck out of it.
That's
And
great. That's
it's
great.
not cheap. I would recommend getting the sport edition because it gives you more granular. The regular edition doesn't give you the blinking lights. The sport edition gives you the blinking lights. That'll give you the
Hmm.
very granular. You know exactly where you are. It's only $25 more, but it's
Right.
$125 for this thing. Now, if you wait a year, then there's going to be a lot of competition, and there's going to be uh, the Chinese making them. So chances are the price point's going to come down.
Right.
But right now, what this guy actually, I believe he's an epileptic, I want to say. And so we had talked about how epileptics have a lot of success going in ketogenic diets, uh, and actually, controlling their seizures better because of the diet. So he wanted this to make sure he was in ketosis all the time, and they didn't make them anymore. So he started making them, and it just boomed on him. And now it's back ordered on Amazon. So
Right.
good for him. Yeah. So there you go.
No, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can also give a little bit of an update too, because walking a lot down in Disney on with my family, uh, I have that Fitbit strapped to my wrist wherever I go anymore, right? We managed to hit 8.5 miles walking one day.
No, I believe that.
Yeah, that's insane. And I was over 22,000 steps that day, I think it was, something like
Nice.
that. And for the entire week then I was just shy of 100,000, which was huge because even with all the running I do, I still sometimes struggle even to get like right around like 70,000, which is what they tell you should walk, right?
Right.
At least walk. But it was really something to be able to kind of monitor that while we're down there because it just syncs right to the phone. I didn't even need a computer or anything
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
awesome.
It was really cool. It was really cool to kind of see that data, kind of flowing in and out of
Disney,
there. So,
man. You
though
walk
I
everywhere
will say,
twice.
I will, I will say though, because I just was wearing flip flops or whatever. This stuff called moleskin,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get it
yeah.
in rolled up sheets or whatever. I
Yep.
had to because we got a good bit of rain down there, so my feet were all I took was a pair of flip flops with me. I didn't bring anything else. I've actually fit everything that I needed in a like a hiking backpack, if you can
Yes,
believe that.
I do that everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
yeah.
roll everything up, and I was able to fit everything in there, and I didn't even check it. It just slid under the seat on the plane. But I had this moleskin with me that I had to cut up every day and put where my on my feet because of the constant rubbing of the wet flip flop.
Do you
I
get
guess
blisters?
I didn't get any blisters.
That's
It
good.
just was like because it was just wet and constantly wet, and it just wasn't getting a chance to dry out or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just became kind of just raw. So I would just I'd tape this moleskin that I would cut up, over the part where the flip flop was, and I could go walk no problem after
That's
that.
something we
So
haven't talked about at all on this podcast. So maybe that'd be a good. We should really talk about feet health and my conspiracy theories
okay,
on minimalistic shoes and things like that. That would be kind of
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
We haven't talked about that at all, have we?
I think you
Yeah.
might have mentioned about like the skins that you wear for running sometimes, where it's just like a little rubber thing that kind of goes over the foot, right? But I don't know that we went into too much detail about
Yeah, we'll have to cover that. I'm actually my ankle's finally, I think, back to a good 95%. So I was just talking to a buddy of mine today about starting back up running. So
that.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think I'm running two races coming up here. One on the
Oh, good for you.
there's just a little there's a rail trail that's now been extended, and they're doing a 5K there for like the local library or something like that. But then because we're my wife and I were big Flyers fans, and she's actually been training to do this as well. The Flyers Wives Charity, which is a big charitable organization, that comes out of the Philadelphia Flyers, they have a 5K, among other things, that are all taking place on the 25th, which happens to be our wedding anniversary. So we're going to go down and just hang out in Philly for the weekend and go run this race and everything like that. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, there's definitely no racism in my future. In fact, it's a year this month when I rolled my ankle
Right.
and really hurt myself. And I've only done one race since then, so
Yeah.
hopefully I'll get back. That's how serious rolling your ankle is, though. And
Oh yeah, I used to do it all the time when I was a kid for some reason.
yeah, yeah. So want to talk about a movie?
Okay.
And this is a widely anticipated movie by a lot of people that are documentary junkies like me, and also junkies like I'm sure you've watched Food Inc. and Super Size Me, and yeah, there's a half a dozen other ones. So this was a rather big production movie. I'll link to the video on demand for Amazon. You can rent it for $3.99 and watch it on Amazon. Uh,
I keep seeing this in the feeds, like whether it's in I think it's on Netflix as well, but I see it in like Google Play, and I've been seeing this one all over the place, and I've been thinking of checking it out.
yeah, if you don't want to rent it, it probably is going to show up on Netflix eventually. But it's a new release, so it's going to be a while before it shows up on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's, I don't want to belabor this too much, but basically, it's very much focuses on the war on sugar. Um, or the lack of war on sugar, I guess I should say, and how sugar has kind of taken over, and at the same time obesity has gone up, and why that's happened. And they very much, I was surprised at how much they just focused on sugar. They do go into how processed foods are bad, and they really tackle name brands, which I was very impressed with. The narrator and one of the, I think, co-producers is Katie Couric.
Hmm.
So big name, some serious money back in this thing. Um, Again, I was really looking forward to it, and I think that's where I went wrong. I was a little disappointed in it. I felt like they didn't tackle some of the science, but especially the new science behind exactly why sugar is beating up people's bodies, and there weren't a lot of proposed solutions either. However, that being said, it's a great movie, especially for those of you who are new to the sugar is bad arena. It's something that needs to be watched, and really needs to be watched for the whole family, because boy, do they tackle the cereal industry and the soda industry, and
Oh yeah.
really get into some of the numbers. And I mean, some of the congressional interviews with companies like McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Nabisco and stuff like that. It's just, it makes you
Mhm.
cringe. And the nice touch in this movie, and actually what I enjoyed the most out of it, which most people may or may not. Again, I wish there was more scientific um backing with what they shown, but they did include some kids and families that really struggled with their weight and kind of followed their story a little bit, which gave it a nice personal element. And a lot of documentaries don't do that. So
Mhm.
that part was there. That part was great. But again, there was something missing there for me. It was, um, but again, I feel like, especially if you're gonna sit down and watch it with like a whole family, it would totally be worth the $4, $3, $4, whatever it is, to watch it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
it's
funny. I'm
a
looking at
little
the
depressing.
cover. I'm looking at the cover right there where it says Congress says pizza is a vegetable. My
Yes.
daughter came home the other day and said that because they have I guess in the lunches they have to they have to pick a vegetable, right? Well, for some reason at school they were picking blue raspberry sorbet as a vegetable. Okay.
Yep.
It's bullshit, all right? So, yeah,
Oh no, I gotta
sorry.
mark that 36. You
I keep trying to get them to to make the right choices and stuff like that, and really limit the type of things that they I know that they want it, but it's just not good for them, So
uh, um Yeah, and that's what they tackle a lot of the school food system stuff,
hmm
which if you don't know, see, that's the problem. Is I already read about this and watched a bunch of documentaries about it, so a lot of it was redundant for me. But if you don't know, I mean, this is a really good jumping point into how screwed up our food system is in America, for sure.
hmm Oh
And
yeah.
if you haven't watched Food Inc., oh, there's a good jumping point, and then go watch this. Food Inc. is will blow your mind. But there's actually quite a few. Michael Pollan was one of the guys in there, and he's one of my favorite authors. You'll recognize a lot of the names if you watch a lot of this stuff, and certainly, and Gary Taubes, which we've talked about both of them on this podcast. So yeah, really, really interesting documentary. So check it out. I don't want to give anything away too much. I would definitely recommend it. I would give it 3.5 to the 3.5 stars out of 5, but most people are going to give it about 4.5 stars, and that's actually runs right in line with the Amazon reviews, about four
hmm
and a half stars. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. So you want to just pound out
That's
these last
pretty
two
cool.
articles,
Yeah, sure.
which are they're actually correspond with each other. I thought this was really interesting. The Nobel Prize goes to a researcher in Alzheimer's that specifically has to do with almost the GPS of the brain. Um, and I don't really understand all of it. Have you read? Did you read some of this?
I did not get a chance to read it.
That's okay. It's basically it's saying so their research along with Maybrit Mosier and Edvard Mosier discover cells that form a positioning system in the brain, our hardwired GPS. And they basically can use this data to, let's see, or it provides useful data for Alzheimer's research. And for those of you who don't know what Alzheimer's is, it starts with dementia, usually in old people, and then turns into what is Alzheimer's, which is an advanced form of dementia where you lose your memory, you forget people around you, basically the memory goes.
hmm
Um, it's a really terrible. My grandmother had severe Alzheimer's before she died.
Yeah,
Um,
my wife's grandmother had severe dementia too before
yeah,
she.
well, it starts with dementia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty. Now, a lot of the literature I've been reading. Oh, and that quote was from CNN. The article's linked in the show notes. um, and the information that I provided. A lot of the research I've been reading, a lot of the podcasts I've been listening to, a lot of the books I've been reading, are now referring to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes.
Really?
Yes, there's very, very large correlations that they're finding, even more than correlations, and we're going to talk about this in the next article, but with very high carbohydrate consumption, constant levels of too much insulin, and not enough cholesterol, not enough fat for the brain, and Alzheimer's. So, yeah, because those are the same signs of diabetes, they're actually, I mean, people with type 2, type 1 diabetes have it's like 80% more chance to get Alzheimer's when they're older. And they believe a lot of that has to do with carbohydrate, simple carbohydrate consumption all throughout life. And the next study we're going to talk about, which I found on, you can find it in a lot of different places. The one I found on was an ABC affiliate. Um, there was a study done in, let's see, California, where a researcher has actually reversed memory loss with in Alzheimer's, which is crazy. You think memory loss means you ain't getting it back, but what they did was they put well, here's what they did. This is if they're calling it the Bredessen's approach, which is named after Dr. Dale Bredesen, who's a neuroscientist at UCLA. And what he did was he eliminated simple carbohydrates. I'm actually reading, paraphrasing from this article. He eliminated simple carbohydrates, no gluten, no processed foods, eat more vegetables, fruits, and wild-caught fish, yoga and meditation, increase your sleep, exercise 30 minutes, 6 days a week, and a regimen of vitamins and supplements. I mean, does it get any simpler than that?
I
I mean,
think
that's not.
I'm already doing all of that stuff.
Well, there you
I
go.
do need to do better about sleep, but I think for the most part I do all of those things.
Yeah, and I think what's crazy is what happens unfortunately with Alzheimer patients are they get usually put in some type of home or in some type of nurse care, and they get fed a high carb diet straight up.
Mm,
And that actually worsens the disease.
yeah.
There was recently Live in La Vida Low Carb, which we mentioned
Yep.
podcast. Very recently, one of the scientists on there, her mother got Alzheimer's, and she went in. The nurses they were feeding her high carbs. She's getting worse really rapidly. She went in, said, "We're getting rid of everything in this house." She literally cleaned out everything. Went to the store, got coconut oil, grass-fed butter, beef butter, good meats, good organic vegetables, liver, and nice organ meats, some bone marrow, just like really, really hearty things, very natural things. Brought it all back. The nurse is like, no, we're not doing this. Is crazy. We can't take her off. The brain needs carbohydrates. No, it doesn't. This is what she said to them. No, it doesn't. You're going to do this for a week. That's my mother, tough. And in a week's time, cognitively, she just turned around 180 degrees. Just,
Wow.
just, just an amazing turnaround. Now, she wasn't perfect and by no means is this like an actual cure,
Right.
but not only can it slow down the process, but like this article suggests, um, it can actually bring back memory and things like that, because it's actually in a way. And of course, again, we're not doctors. But they and don't take our advice. Read up on this stuff and check with a good doctor about this stuff. But in reality, when you start getting that cholesterol and good fat in there, it lights the brain's fire again. So pretty neat stuff.
But it also demonstrates, I think of a fundamental issue with our, the medical community and whatnot, whereas there why are there not more tests and studies done on these types of things, changing diets and
Oh,
doing that type of stuff?
I can tell you why, and you know
Well,
why.
it's money. It's money. It's
Money, right?
big pharma and all that type of stuff. That's where it comes from.
Right.
And so these doctors are, I don't know if they're forced to go a prescription route all the time. Why do they, why doesn't somebody stand up to them and say, hey, let's pick this, like Alzheimer's here, change somebody's diet around, see how they work go with these other this alternative here. You know, why don't they test this thing? Why? Well, we already know why, because it's money. It's all money
It's
based.
money, and it's starting now, though. The turnaround's starting now, and it really, I hate to be cliche, but it really is a grassroots effort. Like, it's
Hmm.
really, these rogue people who are saying, I don't care about your money, and they're getting, grants from colleges and things like that instead of big pharma.
Right.
And we're actually seeing studies now that are starting to be contrary to everything in the past 30 years.
Hmm.
It's kind of crazy, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very frustrating too, because when articles like this come out, there will be a rebuttal guaranteed by um, by the grain industry, or by something, a large company
Yeah.
uh, that has the opposite interests at heart. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. So other than our Ebola talk, we're done. Uh, and yeah, well, I think now that you and I are you not doing any more traveling anytime soon here, are you?
Don't plan on it.
Cool. So hopefully we'll get another one in here pretty soon. Maybe right before Halloween, when everyone's gonna jam all the candy down their throats
Oh
and get
yeah. Right.
Alzheimer's. Terrible. I don't wish that on anyone, by the way. My poor grandmother died a horrible death of diabetes and Alzheimer's. It took her leg before she went and everything.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that's why we all have to fight the fight, right?
That's right.
All right, brother man. Well, you want to tell everyone where they can reach you?
For the most part, hit me up on Google Plus. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, all those things, but Google Plus is probably the best place.
Cool.
And if you look at
And
the bottom of this video, you should be able to find a link here. So
there you go. Oh, I hope you can't hear. Dr. Oz is talking. I'm like, get out of here, Dr.
you
Oz.
got just move your mouse off of his picture there.
Jeez Louise.
I couldn't
I
hear it,
hate
so
those
it didn't make it.
pop-up
It didn't make
videos.
it
Oh,
in.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Oz. The anti. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. If mom said it, you ain't got nothing good to say. Yeah, you can find me somewhere on the internet, I'm sure. And I guess that's it for Health Nuts. Thank you, everyone, and good night.